Hello, my name is Adriana and I got a new toy. So I've been wanting to replace my Kobo for a minute now with something smaller. I do a lot of traveling. It would be nice to have something that is a little more pocket size, purse size, whatnot. I was originally thinking of staying with the Kobo system, but I decided to go with Books. Just to try something different, and also this is less of an e-reader and more of like a full e-ink tablet. Instead of having to load ebooks onto my e-reader, I will just be able to access the app of whatever book thing I want to do. So my Kobo does work really well with Overdrive if I only have one library card, but since I have two library cards, oftentimes I will have to log out of one library and log into a different one to be able to see books from different libraries that I'm borrowing, which is obviously not the case on the Libby app. On the Libby app, everything's all together. And for like my NetGalley ARCs, I have to download them onto my computer. I have to transfer them into Adobe Digital Editions and then go from there to my e-reader. Versus this, I can just download the NetGalley app and read it directly off the NetGalley app. And just lots of stuff like that. And Hoopla. Hoopla doesn't even have an option. I guess maybe it has an option to like download the EPUB file and transfer it, but I've never tried it and it seems like a whole thing, and I don't really love side-loading books. So I am really excited to check this out. I figured since I had it, I would do a full unboxing and then come back in six-ish weeks and let you guys know how I'm feeling about it. So with that, I will move to my desk and we will start unboxing. So the box itself, as you can see, is rather nice. It still has all the shrink wrap on it, which is why you're getting so much of that glare. So I will go ahead and take that off. So yeah, you can see that, oh, that's a very fingerprinty material, but it has the Books logo across the top, and then this is called the Poke 5. So I think this is, you know, it's kind of like an E, it's also kind of like a 5. It also has like a little raised edge to make it look like the sides of the e-reader. So that's all fine and dandy. Take it out. It's in this little sleeve. Oh my gosh, if I can get it out. So you can see like how small this is. Like I don't have huge hands. It's very small and I'm very excited about it. We'll set this off to the side for now. I think all that's in here is just a little charging cable. It is USB-C, which is another thing I'm excited about for upgrading, is not having to carry around a micro USB cable. And then it also comes with one of those little pokey tools to take out the SD card slot. So you can actually, this has expandable storage. So you can put a little SD card in there. I have never found myself needing expandable storage, but I usually borrow books from the library, so I'm only downloading stuff for a short while at a time. So we'll set off the box to the side, we'll bring this back, and take her out. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny! Oh, I love it. So I think this is the power button up here. Maybe. Oh, there we go. So powering on. Oh, that's a cute little animation. So English is good with me. Probably should actually read those. Not going to. Time zone. Ooh, let's see. It actually scrolls pretty well, which is pretty helpful. Ooh, almost there, almost there. Oh, there we go. Ah, Pacific time. That's me. That date and time is, oh, well, I guess we're not connected to the internet yet, so the date and time is going to be off. So we will get to that when we get to it. That's fine for now. I think while I'm learning this, I probably want a navigation bar. That's fine. Okay, now we're setting up. Okay, I might just need to turn Wi-Fi on first. Oh, maybe apps. There we go. Now I'm in the right place. App management, and then we go down and we enable the Google Play Store, and that's how we get it to work. Okay. Okay, so then once you do the enable Google Play, you click on the GSF ID, and then you log in. Should be registered now. Ah, there we go. It's definitely a bit fiddly to get this to work, but you know, it'll hopefully all be worth it in the end. So here we go. We got the entire App Store ready and here to go. So I think first thing I ought to do is add some of my most used reading apps. And I will save you having to watch me continue to fumble around with this. But I'm gonna get all my apps downloaded. I'm gonna do some reading. I'll be back in a couple days, potentially, to let you know how my initial experience is going. As far as getting it set up, it is a little fiddly. It did take me a little bit to figure it out, but we're here now. There's tons of resources on the internet, so should be good to go. Okay, so this is a little update on my books review. I guess I've had this for a couple weeks now. I'll have the date up. I can't remember exactly what day I got this, but I've read like 2.5 books on this using the NetGalley app. So I've just been reading arcs on it so far, and I love it for that. I love not having to like get onto my computer, log into NetGalley, download it on my computer, hook up my Kobo, sideload it on my Kobo. But I will say the NetGalley app is not the most optimized for reading on an e-ink screen. Like, this is more complaints about like the NetGalley app itself. I really wish it had a like pages left in chapter, which I know like it is an EPUB file. It should be capable of like telling you how many pages are left in the chapter you're in. Also, it does this weird thing where when you go, I'll try to show this. I should probably set up my whole thing so you can actually see it, but so I just have like the book I'm currently reading up in the NetGalley app, and you know, if you want to make a note in the NetGalley app, you highlight the phrase or sentence you want to first, physically press on it and get it highlighted, and then the little menu pops up and you can press the highlight button and then it is highlighted. And then you click on the little like note-taking icon. And so it comes up with like a screen to write the note, but it doesn't like black out the words of the arc underneath, of the book underneath. And so you just have to type, which like it's not so bad right now because it just so happens that the note-taking part is on a blank part of the page. But like imagine if this page were like full, like you would be typing over other words, and it's just kind of like not an ideal situation. I mean, I can still like mostly get my note across and, you know, be able to reference it later, but it's just not my favorite thing about this app. But again, that is more with the app itself. I'm really loving the size of this. It's actually like small enough that I can fit it into like the pockets of my leggings. Like a lot of my leggings and stuff have like really wide pockets. So this just like slides right in there. If I'm walking to the gym, it like is super easy if I want to read it on the stair stepper. What else do I have to say about this? I'm really enjoying it. I don't think I will be taking this on my week-long trip to Moab, Utah, mostly because my entire TBR for October is all like physical reads. So I think I'm just gonna bring my physical books, but also this isn't waterproof. And I just feel like my Kobo just feels a little bit sturdier. I don't know if it's just because it has like more plastic, because it has, here, let me go grab it. So, I mean, obviously, like, they're just totally different sizes because this is a 6-inch screen and this is a 7-inch screen, but this just feels a little sturdier to me. It has, like, kind of the rubberized plastic on the back. The screen itself is inset instead of being flush with the bezels, so this is like a flush situation. It's hard to really show that in any sort of meaningful way, but this one, you can kind of see it's got, like, the bezel is above. So if I do like drop it on like flat ground, there is a little bit of protection for the screen itself. I think I had said this, but the Kobo is waterproof. Most of their models now have some sort of waterproof rating. None of the BOOX readers that I could see had any sort of waterproof rating. Like, I'm sure if I were like, if it got a little bit of a splash on it, I'm sure it'd be fine, but I would definitely not want to like be reading this by a pool. I even get nervous about like just being outside, especially like in Moab where it is a desert. It can just monsoon out of nowhere for no reason and things can get drenched. So I don't think I'd want to bring this on like a big camping trip like that. I brought it with me last weekend on just kind of a weekend trip we did, and it was fine. But again, I mostly just read like in the camper. I wasn't, you know, trying to read outside or doing that much like exploring outside. It was just a trials meet, so it was just mostly me like dirt bike riding all day Saturday and then hanging out in the camper. So not that I will probably be bringing any e-readers on this trip to Moab with me, but if I were to bring an e-reader, I would probably be bringing the Kobo because it feels a little sturdier and it has that waterproofing. So that's probably so far my only, I don't even really want to call it a con against the BOOX because that's not really what I bought it for. Like, I bought the BOOX because I wanted that like more e-ink tablet sort of setup where I could access all my apps. I wanted something super duper small that I could throw in like a crossbody bag while I'm like traveling on an airplane, because my new job is going to require me to do a lot more like airplane travel and just driving and packing in like a small suitcase. So that's kind of more what I got this for. And I can still have the Kobo around for when I want to do, you know, lake trips, camping trips, reading outside. Like, I can't really knock BOOX for not fulfilling that use case because I didn't really buy it for that use case. That's why I originally bought this one. Take that how you will. And, you know, maybe as time goes on, I'll care about the BOOX less. The price of it will become lower per use the more I use it, so I won't be as disappointed if something happens to it if I want to take it on a big long camping trip. But for now, it is going to be a more indoorsy e-reader. And Kobo can be the outdoorsy e-reader. Hello, hello. I am ready to give my final thoughts. Well, not final. I'm sure my thoughts will change as time goes on, but like final for this video. The BOOX Poke 5. I have been using it for a month now, I think. I guess it's been almost more like 6 weeks since I unboxed this and really started using it. I have some thoughts, obviously. That's why I'm making a video on it. So I used it pretty extensively on this last trip I took. It actually ended up working out really well. Like, this device worked out really well. My trip was chaotic, but originally my plan was to go for a weekend, roll into a work trip, and then come home on that Friday. Due to some stuff, I ended up extending out to another weekend, to a Monday, and this worked really nicely through the whole time. I had, you know, access to the Libby app where I was reading one of my books, and then access to NetGalley where I'm reading my current read. So it was like so simple and easy just to be able to switch from one to the other, versus on my Kobo, if I didn't have the NetGalley ARC downloaded from my computer and then put it onto the Kobo, I would have been SOL and not really have access to that book except for on my phone. So definitely nice there. I mentioned this in my last update on it, but I don't really like reading. I don't like the reading experience from really any of the apps. So I wanted to try to figure out how to get the EPUB file of the most recent ARC I am reading from NetGalley onto this and see if it was any better in the native reading software, I guess, on this e-reader. But it is not one of Adobe DRM's supported e-readers, so I couldn't get it from Adobe Digital Editions onto this. So that was a whole thing that I had to work through and figure out. But whatever, we're fine now. I will just read on the NetGalley app or download it and put it on my Kobo. I also don't really love the backlight, or I guess the front light. I don't know if it's a setting that I have set up wrong or incorrectly, but on my Kobo, it automatically adjusts the warm light at night. So like if I'm reading during the day, it's a cool light, and then when I'm reading at night, it automatically adjusts to a warmer light. And this doesn't do that. Again, I don't know if it's a setting I have wrong. It's not a huge deal to go into the menu and adjust to a warmer or cooler light, but that is also something that is not ideal. It's really hard for me, like, as much as I have these little nitpicky qualms with the reading experience on this, a little more clunky, not as many features immediately available to me. It's so convenient. The convenience factor is just, it's great. Like, this fits perfectly in my little crossbody fanny pack thing. It fits in the pocket of my leggings. I immediately have access to all of my books without having to get connected up to a computer. I guess I do have to have access to Wi-Fi, but again, I would have to have access to Wi-Fi with the Kobo as well. I just want to jump in here and clarify that when I say access to Wi-Fi, I mean that I need access to Wi-Fi in order to get new books. If those books are already downloaded on my books or my Kobo, obviously they're there. I don't need to be online. So the convenience factor is just top quality. Great. The battery drains on this much quicker than on my Kobo e-reader, but this is more of a tablet. It's got more background systems running in the background, so that makes sense. It's also like physically like smaller and thinner, so there's less room for a battery, and a physically smaller battery is going to have less capacity than a physically larger battery. So there's those two things playing into it. But even on my, like, the 11-day trip I just took, I only had to charge this once, I think. I guess it's like mostly once, kind of twice. I think I got it down to like 15% and then charged it up to 40, and then like got it back down to like 30 and then charged it up to 100%. So it was like kind of a weird double system thing, because I didn't have that many chargers available to me that I could just charge it all the way up at once. But I did not have to charge this as often as like a phone or a tablet or whatever, so that is kind of nice. And you know, it's USB-C, so I'm not carrying around a special cord for it, so that is also a nice little feature. So would I buy this again, knowing everything I know now? I think knowing everything I know now, I would have a really hard time deciding between this and the same Kobo in this form factor, especially if the newer Kobos have fixed the multiple library issue. I don't want to get into that too much here because this is specifically a review on this one, but it's hard not to compare with like what I'm used to. Another reason I like being able to read directly from the Libby app on this is that I have two libraries associated with the Libby app. Libby/Overdrive works directly with my Kobo's interface, so my library books show up automatically on my Kobo without having to log well, I guess I have to log into Overdrive, but it's not really going through like a, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It shows up natively on my Kobo because it works directly with Overdrive, but the multiple library thing is a little weird on my specific model of Kobo from what I can see from Reddit. I think other Kobos might not have the same issue, but I don't know for sure because I don't have another Kobo model. If that multiple library issue were fixed on a different Kobo or on the small Kobo, I would definitely have a hard time deciding between the two. So obviously I like this. I will continue to use it. I want to give my true honest opinion on what I think. And again, I think the fact that I am reading on these apps instead of a native e-reader just the apps for being reading apps don't really seem to be set up in a way that's conducive to the way I like to read. So most of the apps don't have a pages left in chapter option, or there's not a lot of like variability in how you can adjust the footnote. When I'm reading a book with footnotes in the native e-reader setting on my Kobo, if I click on the footnote, it'll automatically pop up on the screen. This one, it takes me to the pages where the footnotes are instead of just popping up with the footnote. Again, I think that is because I'm not reading it as an EPUB file from an EPUB reader. I am reading it on the NetGalley app, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm just babbling on, but I do have some issues with it. I'm glad I have it. I love the form factor. I love the convenience of having all of my different reading ecosystems available in one place, but there are some tweaks I would make if I could. So yeah, I think that kind of settles it for my initial books review. I might do another kind of review in like a year or so, depending on if any of my thoughts or feelings or opinions have changed. So let me know if you are interested in any of the BOOX e-reader models, and thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.